Hands down, one of the most stressful parts of booking a wedding is figuring out who is going to help you with that wedding. Now, my name is Brandon. If you don't know me, I'm a seasoned wedding videographer based in Atlanta, Georgia. Feel free to follow me over on Instagram, where I post a bunch of videography and photography education tips, a whole bunch of stuff over there. But I had this question come up over on Instagram, and it was, Brandon, how do you find good quality second shooters to help with your weddings? Now, if you're just starting out in the wedding space, you may be shooting solo dolo. I did that for the first year and I made it work. And that was partially due to me not having the budget to be able to pay a second shooter. But the beautiful part about the wedding space is as you progress more and more into your career, you begin to charge a little bit more, and you begin to be able to bake into the cost that you're charging your clientele the price for your second shooter. I will say that in Atlanta, it's a very saturated wedding videography market. That's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a bad thing because there's a lot of competition here, but it's a good thing because we kind of have this close-knit relationship here where I scratch your back, you scratch mine. I help other videographers at their weddings, they help me out at my weddings. So it's very easy for me to be able to find a wedding videographer that can help me out on one of my weddings, especially when I know that I'm going to need that second set of hands. And in fact, nowadays I even bring a third person, a production assistant along, that ultimately helps with just logistics of the day and gets BTS for me to have for social media purposes and a bunch of other stuff. But going back to the second shooter thing, for me, it's relatively easy for me to be able to find a second shooter in Atlanta. But what happens when I travel across the country and I don't have that close-knit videography community that I'm used to here in Atlanta? Well, what I used to do was look on Instagram and I would type in, I'll use New Orleans as an example. I recently had a wedding in New Orleans last year, and I literally had to do exactly this to find a second shooter. I went to Instagram and I typed in New Orleans wedding videographer, and a couple came up. And I'm not one to discredit or shoot down any other videographer in their creative journey, but I know the quality that I bring to my clientele, and it's very important for me to have a second shooter that is able to bring just that same quality so that I can make sure that not only my footage is looking good, but my second shooter's footage is looking good too. What I saw on Instagram wasn't the best. And I knew that I was going to have to do something because I knew I had to have a second shooter. Well, then I went over to Google and I typed in best wedding videographers in New Orleans. And I really felt like I was like a wedding client, like a couple that was looking for a wedding videographer, and I could feel their pain. A bunch of stuff popped up. People that were not even in New Orleans popped up, and it was a huge headache. I remember I was doing it for like an hour, searching through people's websites, looking at their work, and ultimately I just left Starbucks that day and I was like, I'm done with this. Well, in comes this lovely little website called Second Society. The owner of Second Society reached out to me a couple of weeks back, and he was like, hey Brandon, I see that you do some traveling for like wedding videography across the country. What do you do for like finding second shooters? And this was literally right after the New Orleans trip, and I was like, you know what, I really did just have a pain point with trying to find a second shooter in New Orleans. And he was like, how about you come check out our website? It's free to use. You don't have to pay anything. There is a subscription that you can buy if you want to get, more access to this and this and that. But ultimately, you can utilize the website for free. You can basically search videographers based on where you're going to be shooting and find someone local that is a vetted photographer or videographer, and try and decrease some of that stress of finding a videographer or a photographer for an upcoming wedding. And I've even booked a guy to help me out with a wedding later on this year that I have in California. I think that it's a very useful tool for any creator to have, to just be able to automatically filter through the best of the best in the industry and find those vetted individuals that can help out around the country. I really love the website because it utilizes the ability for a lot of filtering. You're able to filter videographers based on their location, their availability. You can go in and set what days you have available for your calendar, or you can just sync it right to your Google Calendar, and it'll automatically let videographers know if you're available or not based on your Google Calendar. You also can filter with things like camera types. Like if you're a Sony shooter and you want to have another Sony shooter work with you to help merge color profiles better, you can filter for that, and you can immediately go into a videographer's portfolio and you can see some of their work. You can see what cameras they have available to them. You can also see like what all gear they have, like if they have microphones, lights, whatever, drones, whatever it may be. You have all this information up front. You can also see what rates they charge. So all the monotony of having to find a videographer and then have a conversation with them, see if they're available, see what gear they have, how much do they charge, does it fit into your budget to hire them. All of this is simplified with a quick click onto a videographer's page. I don't know how this has not been created sooner, especially because second shooters is such a pivotal part of our creative process for weddings. But I'm so glad that Jimmy and his wife and probably their production team or whatever software engineers have created this to help us be able to have a solidified way to find vetted individuals that can help us shoot weddings. This has been monumental for my business, and I want to invite you guys to join on as well. Like I said, it's free to use. You don't even have to, I'm not asking you for any money, and neither is the owner of the company, but I just want you guys to go check it out. And if you do travel a lot for weddings and you do have a pain point of trying to find good quality second shooters to help you out on your weddings, this is a really good tool for you to utilize. Head over there and check it out. If any of this sounds like it could be of help to you and your business and your business model, and I'm going to put the website down below in the description box, but it's again called Second Society, and again, it's free to use. You do not have to pay any money to set up an account and start booking people right away. But I will say that you do get some benefits with the membership, and I'll list those benefits on screen right now. So look on screen and let me know if any of the things that are on here sound like things that you would want to indulge in, and if so, definitely use my code that's popping up on screen right now so that you can get 50% off of your first year subscription. That's been my spiel about Second Society. I'm absolutely in love with the platform, and I hope that these guys continue to grow and foster this because it's definitely needed in our field and in the wedding space. So hopefully you found some value to this video. If you have any questions about Second Society and anything that the memberships offer, definitely let me know down in the comments below, and you can also feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. Feel free to shoot me a DM if you have specific questions, but if nothing else, I'll see you guys in the next video. When we touch down, it's like